when I was thinking about writing the play, a young member of my family was starting a college search. And they were also thinking about gender, sexuality, and sort of their place in that. And it was, in a lot of ways, a love letter to them.
Mm.
And I was thinking, of course, about my own experiences in college in the 90s and thinking about how things have changed and how things haven't, and um, thinking about my like friends of mine who graduated with me or didn't graduate with me. And so I was just thinking about that experience as a whole. And I think there's something so specific about on campus life as a freshman, um, that when I look back on it, I'm like, wow, it's so heavy. There's so much heaviness that can be there. I mean, it can be really fun, but there are so many things that can be quite scary or overwhelming, or we are asking 18-year-olds to handle things that maybe they are not prepared to yet. But I think that's part of the journey, is that preparation and that learning, that discovery. And so I was really interested in exploring that specific period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Really feel like music is an interesting expresses an interesting cultural divide.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the first image I ever had of the play was, a young Black woman just rocking out in the middle of a dorm room. That was really the first image I had, because I think it's counter to what people may expect, but I think it happens a lot more than people think. So it's like, oh, no one's here. Here's my time. I'm gonna rock out to Hole. you know. So I think that was really the first image, and then it was interesting to me because so much about understanding like, oh, okay, what music, some people are like, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? But sometimes when people meet and are trying to understand each other, it's like, what music do you like? Mm-hmm. Like, what's your favorite song? What's the first album you ever bought? What concert have you been to lately? Like, people really want to know, like, oh, what kind of music are you into? Mm-hmm. And so I was really interested in how that expressed. And I think the 90s is very particular because so many genres of music were popular and chart topping at the same time, which what isn't very it's not that's not a normal thing. It's kind of an outlier period of like 94 through like 97 where you had all these different genres that were all really popular. And so thinking about how that plays out on a college campus, and music taste as identity, really. Um, you know, I was interested in the ways in which Ciara, one of the characters, is expressing different parts of herself depending on what music she's listening to at the time, and what she enjoys listening to with her roommate Kat is very different from what she enjoys listening to with her, friend slash love, Taryn. So yeah, I mean, I think I was thinking a lot about that cultural, how we express culture and identity through music. I wanted to write a love story. I wanted to write something that felt like an invitation to work on something joyful with other artists. And so I thought it was just such a nice experience to write something about love and having love be the engine and coming together, and particularly about two young Black women in love, and having that be an engine to come together and create with people. Kat is really a composite of a few people I knew in my freshman year of college. And what I think is interesting about Kat is white, and on this predominantly white campus, but doesn't necessarily see herself as part of the mainstream culture of the campus. She really is part of a subculture on campus, and also in like the city of Pittsburgh. You know, going to, you know, rock concerts and listening to Riot Grrrl music and hanging out at the Beehive, which is a real place in Pittsburgh, that where is like very countercultural place to be. And I think, but she's also very much still learning, and I think how she sees herself, especially with being from like a small town in Pennsylvania, or a small city in Pennsylvania, that, you know, not a lot of BIPOC folks at all, but probably feeling like, oh, well, you know, oh, my town is so white. I'm so excited to go somewhere where there are more, you know, people of color. Oh, I have a Black roommate. How exciting, you know, but still not necessarily like not knowing what she doesn't know, but also there's a lot of discovery there. And I think there's a lot of like, ooh, why did I think this? When I hear responsibility, I think about obligation, and obligation makes me grumpy. I mean, I think, you know, it's tough because in a lot of ways, I really want Black playwrights to write what they want to write. And I think, but I also think that we need to, it's always a valid question of like, well, why are you writing this? You know, why are you writing this? Or why do you feel like you need to write this? Or, you know, what are you hoping to do? You know, I think those questions should always be asked. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because I really see, you know, playwriting for me is very much an artistic expression. I write because it's a centering activity for me. When I'm not writing, you know, everyone around me can tell. They're like, wow, you should really be writing.